All right, so good morning. I'm going to make some coffee, and I just wanted to show how I make coffee. It's a little bit, I guess, more extra than just drip coffee. I'm not going to say it's better. I enjoy it. However you like to drink coffee is the right way to drink coffee for you, or make coffee. So I've got all my stuff out here. I've got a mug. Obviously, I'm only making one mug of coffee. And I've got a Pyrex measuring cup. We have a couple other brands, but I like to use the Pyrex one because it pours really well. Some people say you should use a gooseneck kettle, something like that. I haven't needed one yet, but you can get that if you want. Those apparently pour really well. I have a grinder. This is a conical burr grinder. It's a Hario brand, but it doesn't really matter. You can use a spice grinder too. It's just I like how these are very even. Like sometimes with a spice grinder, you'll end up with half of a bean still whole in there, but everything else is powder, and it's kind of weird. And then I've also got my pour over. This is also a Hario pour over. These things aren't that expensive. It's really, I think all in I was like $50 for my whole setup. Of course, that doesn't include coffee. Coffee is the most expensive part of this whole thing. And then I've got some conical filters for it, and then I've got my coffee. So first thing I'm going to do is heat up this. I'm going to do a little bit more than 2 cups of water. I'm going to heat it up until it's about 200 degrees. Okay, and now that that is going, I want to heat up my mug. So, and this is a really thick mug, so I like to run the water until it's the hottest possible, fill it up, and just let it sit for the same time that the water is heating up in the microwave. All right, so now that my mug is heating, I'm going to measure out the coffee using weight. And I've got a little kitchen scale here. You can get those on Amazon for like $20 at most. They're very inexpensive. So I'm just going to measure out 20 grams. Keep in mind, this is for one like normal coffee mug, which is about 2 cups of coffee. That's what a normal mug is. But yeah, I'm going to measure out 20 grams. And you do it by weight versus by volume because that's what all the people have told me to do. I actually don't know a reason why. I know like if you're baking bread, it's important to do it by weight instead of volume because you get more consistent results, but I haven't really tested out that with coffee. I do know that the lineage beans are often really light. I don't know why, but they are. So now I'm going to grind this. This is a really good workout for your forearms, by the way, because you need the grip strength to do this. All right, looks like we're done grinding. So I've only got like a minute left on my water in the microwave. So I'm gonna go. This mug it's warmed up. It's not like super warm, but it's helped. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this out so I can get the rest of this ready. So I'm going to take my pour over. I'm putting it onto the mug. And I'm going to take my cone filter and insert it in there. And then wait for the hot water. So you want it not quite boiling, you want it about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. This actually was boiling a little bit, so I guess I need to adjust my time. But we'll have a little bit of time for it to cool off while I do the filter rinse. So It's important to rinse out the filter because otherwise your coffee will taste a little bit like paper. So you just give it a first little rinse. I like to hold down one edge of it. Just be very careful with the boiling water. And just pour a little bit to hold it down. And then I just kind of run around the top edge, trying not to spill everywhere, and let the water drain through. And then because this water is basically boiling hot, I like to swirl it around in the mug for a few seconds before I dump it out, just to heat up the bottom of the mug even more. Because otherwise my coffee will come out like lukewarm after all this, because the mug will absorb so much of the heat. All right, so now that we've rinsed out the filter, we're going to pour the coffee in. All right, and then we're going to turn on our scale. And I'm going to get a timer for this. Normally I use my phone, but my phone's recording this. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour just enough to kind of get the water level above the beans and kind of try to get everything saturated, and then let that sit for 30 seconds. This usually ends up being about 30 to 40 grams of water, for me anyway. So that ended up being 38.3 grams of water. But yeah, you'll notice that the grounds are going to start bubbling a little bit, especially if it's fresh coffee, like that you just bought it, you just opened the package, or it's just been roasted in the last week or something. It'll be really bubbly. I have some older coffee that still tastes good, but you can tell it's not as fresh as it used to be. But yeah, once this is called blooming the coffee, by the way. So now that it's hit 30 seconds, now we're going to start pouring. And I don't like to pour too fast. I like to kind of take my time and make sure I get all of the angles. So I'm going around the outside edge, and then I'm going in a circle on the inside, and then just repeating. And I'm going until I reach 280 grams of water. I went over a little bit, but that's fine. 1 or 2 grams is not a lot of water, so it's very easy to go over. And now this is going to take about 2 minutes to brew. And the water is just going down through into the cup. And you don't actually need to time it, you just wait till it's done. And usually at this point I start putting away my stuff just to save some time. And I've already measured the water and everything, so I'm just going to move this off the scale and then turn the scale off and put the scale away too. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes and the coffee is done. And yeah, it's right up there, perfect. So now I'm just gonna dump out the coffee grounds into the trash and enjoy. Thanks.